Hey, everybody. Welcome to the SME Podcast. I'm Trevor Swenson.
I'm Adam Bance. What's up?
With us today is the vivacious Calico Cooper, lead singer of Beasto Blanco and all-around kick-ass chick. How you doing?
I'm doing so good.
It's good to have you.
Thank you so much.
So to lead this off, to start on a bad note, we're happy you're here considering the fact of the fires over by your house right now.
Yeah, so the Bobcat fires are literally 2 miles from my house, and, you know, everybody in the house has cell phones going off, different providers sending them like, you might want to get out things. And I'm such a Californian, you know, like we were talking about earthquakes and fires and things like that. You kind of just sit on your couch and house is full of smoke and you go, really? Am I really going to go? You know what I mean? Until I see a flame and then I'm like, right.
Yep.
That'll do it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's go right now.
So you guys are like packed up pretty much and ready to go right now.
It's weird what you grab because it's not a panic. You kind of have like a little bit of time to go, you know, you think you'd go, oh, like my photos and my birth certificate. I kind of looked around the house, and maybe you're in a good place when you can do this. I looked around and I was like,
I feel like you're in the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
It's
No,
a
I
good
totally
feeling,
did.
though.
It's
That's
good.
a cool feeling.
Like, I mean, I've got
Like,
3
all right.
dogs,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
it.
and like a painting that was my grandma's, and I'm like, it's a bed. You know what I mean? It's a chandelier. Like all this stuff is like, I like it. I obviously picked it, but at the end of the day, am I going to take like my dining room table and shove it in my Fiat? Probably not.
Yeah. Fiat. Nice
That's
name
right.
drop.
Yeah, boom, Fiat. Well, it's true. I love that car.
So what do you guys have like for a backup? Like, do you have like space already that you've talked to people? Hey, if we burn down, can we hang out at your house for a while type of thing? Or
It's been really bizarre. You know, the people that reach out and say like, hey, if you need a place, it's weird. And I'm totally transparent. My close friends haven't said anything, which I think maybe is an unspoken thing. Like, bro, you know, you can come here, right? But like kind of my B, C string friends are sending me like the ones that send the once a year happy birthday text. And it like it has a record of like 1994, happy birthday, 1995, happy birthday.
I talked
We should
to you
hang
a
out
year ago.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
But
yeah.
it's like the kid that wrote in your yearbook, stay cool, see you next summer. Like, you know, but these people are calling me going like, hey, listen, I know I have a 1-bedroom apartment and you've got 3 dogs. You can come here if you want to, which is super nice. And I'm like, thank you.
I haven't talked to you in 3 years, but,
Yeah.
you know.
But cool. And I kind of like, just for the story's sake, I kind of want to like call their bluff. Be like, hello, it's me and my 3 dogs. Are you guys down to party or what?
yeah. So I don't have a house for about another year because they're building it again.
Is that cool?
Yeah,
Can
that's
I
all right.
crash?
Yeah. So for our listeners and our viewers that might not know who you are, give us a little background on you. And, you know, I mean, we obviously know who you are because you're Calico Cooper. And that's awesome. But like, you know, you've got the film thing you're doing. You've got the band thing you're doing. You know, you've traveled all over the world because of your lineage and all this other stuff. But give us a rundown.
I mean, really, it's people tend to be interested at the jump because of the lineage, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm Alice Cooper's daughter, and it's something that like I think was supposed to be like I kind of came to LA right when that was happening, right when celebrity kids were like the thing, right? Everybody cared about like, you know, Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton and all this stuff, and I came to LA kind of like I wanted to work. I wanted to work in film and television. I did not want to do a reality show. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but for me, I kept getting approached with the craziest things where it's like, okay, get ready for this. They're like, and this was a real one. They said, so you and Meatloaf's daughter and Diana Ross's daughter are all going to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we're going to freeze all your bank accounts, and you have to be able to make the rent and survive. I'm like, oh, so it's the Paris Hilton show, but with different people.
Yeah.
Why in the hell would I want to do that? And it's because people were fascinated with celebrity kid, like silver spoon kids, all of a sudden being like, I'm normal. What'll I do? But they don't know that, like, I went to public school, dude. I got in fist fights. Like, it was, my parents chose to do that for a reason. And it was because it was like, yeah, like you need to know kids that are like real people. Yeah. You know, and kids that like, so, I mean, none of my friends had a ton of money. They were good, hardworking families. You know what I mean? And so that's who I grew up with. So when I came to LA, I could not click. I looked right. I looked like I should be able to do it, and I felt frozen. I couldn't like click into the jam. And so I started going to like all these like gnarly, like in the movies, those acting teachers that are like smoking a cigarette and they get scotch and they're like, tell me about your dad.
Yeah.
Like I did all that. And
what show was that? The one on HBO? Where the guy's a hitman?
the Kaminsky myth. Oh no.
The Hitman.
Yeah, that's what I lived. Not
Okay, yeah.
Henry, but Harry.
The Kaminsky myth is amazing.
It's amazing.
No,
They canceled it.
But
it's like Barry.
Barry.
Or Barry. Yeah,
Barry.
yeah.
I haven't watched
So
it.
that was my life.
It's okay.
And essentially I was a hitman. But
It's like John Heater or something like that.
Bill Heater.
Bill Heater.
Who's really good in it. But anyway. Yeah, so I just couldn't do that, and I struggled because the idea was kind of like I was getting blowback. We're like, oh, you're too good to do reality shows, and I was losing managers and agents. They're like, if you don't do reality, we're not interested because that's what people want you for. And I was like,
Fuck them.
I gotta do what I really want, and I was like, I don't want to do it. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
So I finally found somebody that was like, cool, I won't mention it, and I said, no, you're more than welcome to mention it if it's feasible. Like I remember I got seen for the Runaways, the movie The Runaways.
Yeah.
And I came back they saw me for all 4 characters. I just kept coming back. And they were just like, you're like, at the time, I was like 22, 23. And they're like, you're just like a couple years too old to play 14, 15-year-old. And I was like, cool. But I knew at that moment that I could do it.
Have they not looked at Amazon and saw the 43-year-olds playing 16-year-olds?
But you know what I mean? Then that's when the moment where I go, I can do this. I can do this with the last name and not... Because
Not you. Yeah.
celebrity kids are either like, don't talk about my parents. I'm not my parents. Or they're like riding the coattails and their eyelashes flapping in the wind like, I can't let go of this machine. But like there's a weird middle ground where you're like, I respect the hell out of what my dad's done and what he's built. And I learned. I toured with him for 12 years and I sat in production. I was on stage and I saw how everything worked. And I just took it in. So when I stepped out and did Beasto, I go, this is what's going to get him. This is what's different.
You knew,
Yeah.
the roughing it through it well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sleeping. When we first started, literally our first tour, it was like sleeping in vans. But you have to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you think you are.
That's how I started.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what it's... I mean, I remember driving through Detroit on Beasto's first tour and like nobody knew who we were. And I went to Walmart and I bought a blow-up pool toy, the thing. And I put it in the trunk of the van. And I just slept on that
I did
in
that
the trunk.
yesterday. It's just comfortable.
It works so good. But yeah, so you got to be willing to go from the ground up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When did you first start touring with your dad?
Oh gosh, 2000. In the year 2000.
Cool.
Nice.
And he'd taken like a 4-year break and he came back out with Brutal Planet and it was like kind of his first heavy metal record. You know what I mean? Like a real, like we're committing to heavy metal here.
Yeah.
And Bob Marlette, guy that did Manson and all that stuff, produced it. And my dad says, I want to go back to the theatrics. He's like, I want to create sort of a dystopian world where like, the nurse is half human and half God knows what. And, bring back the guardian of the gates of hell for go to hell and blah, blah, blah. And I go, okay. And he goes, you think you could do that? I go, yeah. And so for the first couple of years, I played it like I'd seen it played. Yeah. So I like watched the tapes and then Welcome to My Nightmares. And I go, okay, that's what she does. And that's what she does. But after a couple of years, I started like, started flexing a little bit. And I'd go off and I do this or that. And it kind of threw a wrench in the machine because as exciting and theatrical as that show is, it's really choreographed because he won't use fake weapons.
Yeah.
Everything on stage is real. The swords are real. All that shit's real. So just me going off was sort of like created chaos, but in a good way. So the band was always kind of on guard. You know what I mean? And he all of a sudden became like, what? And I thought, what better to do rather than just be like, oh, that's Alice's daughter playing the nurse. I wanted to give him a real nemesis, not a girl that's like, no, don't choke me, whatever. I wanted you to want me to die. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And to be able to hold a crowd, of 10, 20,000 people in your hands. And when I turn my head, they'll go boo, and I'm like, yeah.
Kill me.
Yeah, just like as haughty as you please. There was nothing gentle or delicate about me because I wanted I wanted Alice to be the hero.
Yeah.
And in order to make him a hero, I'm going to be the worst. And so I've always been an actor. And that's when I started flexing my muscle and going, rather than make you like me, how can I make you hate me on a big scale? You know, and I learned how to work a Jumbotron. I learned how to, when I saw the cameras in the pits, right? How to just and it worked. And so for 12 years, I went around the world 12 times. And the coolest thing is, that's the age where girls really need their dads.
So you're with him.
Yeah. And I didn't go to college. I went right on the road, and I learned all of the scary teenage girl, early 20 girl lessons in, the Eastern Bloc of Europe.
Yeah.
Right? I got, getting too drunk and being around people you don't know, and I can't find my way home. It was just like college, but out in the planet. And
yeah, talking about learning at a festival level, instantaneously,
it's the same.
She's at Download or whatever, and there's 90,000 people standing outside, and all of a sudden, I'm too drunk. Where do I go?
Where
and
do
you
I
got
go?
All these people, you can come with us.
It's
right.
not good.
But I've made the mistakes. I've gotten in the vans. I've done all the stupid things. And I was so lucky to do it with my dad for literally 12 years. And I kind of came out of it. And so now there's really nothing that you can, you know what I mean? If they go, Calico, this venue, and it's kind of blah, 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 and the
Don't
owners.
walk around
I'm
it.
Yeah. You're
I got it.
I've been to Turkey. You have no idea.
Yeah, bro.
Turkey's pretty good. It's some of those Eastern Bloc ones, especially in the north, Latvia, Lithuania,
I've
where you're
been there. You can get into some trouble in Scotland. Wow.
Yeah, because you can't understand what the hell they're saying.
No, and you can't understand what I'm saying at that point either. So we're both just like,
Did you ever have times where the tour manager was trying to find you? Bus call.
I am very slippery. I admit it. I'm a little sneaky thing. I don't know why. It's just a thing.
So you're the person that he hated then.
Yeah. But
Where is she?
Yeah,
I'll
where
see
is
you
she?
in Manchester.
Right. But I'll always get there. You know what I mean? Somehow I'd always get there, and I would never make them worry, because also it wasn't just me. I was the only girl, including crew, with 40 guys for 12 years. At the time, there was no girl guitar players. There was no girl caterers. There was no girl anything. It was just me. And that was so clutch, to who that I became. Somehow I managed to stay feminine, which is who I am, and still be able to be and do things at the drop of a hat. So I just learned in a really weird way
That's
how to
interesting,
people.
actually.
You know what I mean? And if people go, I never met anybody like you, I go, I think it was such a strange science experiment, and this is what kind of came out of it.
This episode of SNB Podcast brought to you by Veeps. For artists, by artists, always commission free. For a full list of upcoming shows, visit veeps.com.
Hey everybody, it's Trevor and Adam.
We want you to check out Dynamic Talent International, the boutique booking agency with a personal attention to their clients' needs.
From music talent, seminars, podcasts, and YouTube, DTI represents a wide range of incredible clients.
Visit dynamictalentint.com for a full roster list and contact information. Go check it out. Was that lonely, being the only girl?
It never occurred to me.
That's cool.
It literally never occurred to me, because I never got treated better than anyone else. When my dad would fly somewhere, I still had to ride the bus for 15, 16 hours. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's nice. There's a rest in that,
Yeah.
But
You can
yeah,
sleep.
I pay my own incidentals. I have to do, it's I was treated at 18 like a person that had been touring for 30 years, and I was expected to act that way, And the guys would test me, though, early on. I remember very clearly, it was they would do shit to me and tease to the point of ugh. And they were like, oh, you're going to go tell your dad? I'm like, no, I'll do you one better. And then I had to get smarter, and I had to get quicker, and I had to get nervier.
Back at them.
Yeah, until they stopped. And then they would come to me and go, oh, there's a new guy. Let's razz him. I'm going, oh, so I'm not okay. Copy. Cool.
I guess at least you're considered an equal, as opposed to
Yeah,
the only girl on tour and Alice's daughter.
there's a lot swinging against me there, and
Yeah.
as cool as
lot,
that sounds, it's like I really maybe I just didn't see it as a struggle. I certainly know there were times where I was like, okay, nobody's getting what is happening to me right now, and I'm like, that's okay, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? But I think that serves me now, to be honest.
So what are some big incidences that might have happened when you were doing that? Like, was there ever, were you ever like super in danger? Like,
yeah.
I think when you're touring, there's always an element of, am I going to die? Holy shit. You always put yourself, well, I did, with a lot of the artists that I toured with, there was a few times where I was like, oh, we might not make it out of this one. Going around, sometimes bus drivers.
Yeah.
You get on a bus and you're like, this guy's got one eye.
Dude, he literally did. We might have had the same bus driver. It's a small
happened
world.
to me, and I was like,
the bus driver thing though is like they are obviously
it's 50-50.
They're the keeper of like your life, and I love when I meet somebody that's almost a little like so hyper focused that they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Because that's like, I know this guy is going to get me safely to where I'm going.
It's the ones that want to be a part of the party or not the ones.
No.
And they get fired real quick.
That you're like, you are on 100% on speed.
Yeah.
100. That is not energy drink.
That's kind of twizzled out now.
Oh, no. 2 years ago, we had. I got to tell the story. I'm not going to use their name because that would be bad. But
right.
So the person was the bus driver, and they just wanted to be a part of the party. So they'd come back, they'd have a couple beers, and aren't you supposed to be sleeping now?
That guy gets fired.
Oh, he got fired big time
immediately.
But so they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna go to bed. So he goes to bed and he closes the drape, and all of a sudden you hear him on the phone. And all of a sudden you hear, I'm like, no. 45 minutes later, let's go.
Oh my!
I had a bus driver once actually asked me to find him sleeping pills, and I was like, "What? I'd prefer to the." Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Straight up. Hey, I can't get to sleep at night. Can you try to find me some Vicodin? And I was like,
no.
I was like, you're going home tomorrow.
Bye.
Everybody out there in the rest of the world, that are the other 50%, we appreciate you. Stay the way you are. By the way.
Yeah. Thank you so much. No, I was on one of the hardest tours we ever did, and then when you say you're ever in danger, I remember. We had one of the members of the band that I do have to keep the name out because we just don't want to deal with that. But
that's fine.
Got really, really wasted and picked a fight with the bus driver while he's driving. Ugh. And dude, shirtless, and the bus driver's like, "You better get out of the thing." And I'm like, "No!" And I was the only one awake. Shit. And this guy was breaking plates and yelling at the bus driver, and he pulled down the curtain, that goes between. And and the guy's swinging on him, and the bus is going, and my dad's asleep in the back. And so this is one of those things where I go,
where was this? Which country? Let's set that up.
UK.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense then.
And he's like, "You blah blah blah," right? And the dude is just like, "Yeah, you do." So I literally was like, try and be calm and think fast, because all I'm thinking about is my dad asleep in the back, and this is not how he's going out. I wasn't even thinking, not to be like, oh, it's so selfless, but like I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, no, this cannot happen like this. And so I just like very calmly, so he didn't catch me like running, because that would like it's like a rabbit, to a wolf, like she's running. So I just sort of like oozed out. That's what I mean by being slippery. I sort of just like oozed out of it and like kind of walked back to the hallway and like pressed the door button, and I got the biggest guy that was on the bus, and I opened it, which you don't just open somebody's curtain, but I was like, this is important. And so I opened the curtain and I said, "Brian, I need you to get up right now." And he's like, "What's going on?" I go, "This guy's fighting the bus driver and we're going down." I was like, "Get up." And so he slid, and he was super calm too, and he grabbed one of my dad's stage canes, the black and white, the toilet. And and the vision was, he walked out, and I was still in the hallway, and he goes, psh, right? And the door closed, and he had the stage cane. I don't know what happened, but about 5 minutes later, the bus pulled over to the side of the road, very calmly and coolly, and they both got out and went separate directions, and Brian opened back up the door, and he goes, "Okay, they were going to park here for a while, go to sleep." He's like, "I'm going to go check on your dad." I was like, "What happened?"
Yeah.
What happened?
Was there a murder?
Yeah,
What happened?
Who picked the fight, though? That's the question. Was it the guy in the band, or was it the driver?
It was the guy in the band. I think I call it a loose swing. There was a really loose left hook because he kind of like, it was like a comment in passing where it's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Now, a good bus driver would go, oh my God, you drunk ass idiot, right? And just keep going. Mm-hmm. But it was certainly a comment that demanded attention. And what he should have done is been like,
shut up.
I'm going to kill this guy later, then get there, then go directly to management and say, I will not be verbally abused while I'm driving. And this guy's got to go or whatever. But instead, you know, UK turned around and said, what? And I'm like, please don't look this way.
Yeah. Oh,
that is a good question. Was Shep there?
No.
I was going to say, like, if he was on the bus, there would have been murders.
There would have been murders, but they would have been very quiet, and they would have happened 2 weeks later while you were picking grapes somewhere. It's like, pew!
Yeah. Is he stealthy?
Oh, yeah.
Shep's a stealth?
Where do you think I get it from? Come on now.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So, acting-wise, give us a lowdown. You've been doing a ton of voiceover work. You've been doing. You were shooting something the last time we were hanging out too. Like you were doing something the next day. So.
Yeah, the cool thing about the streaming thing is like there's not a pilot season anymore, which is really cool. So it's like content creators now have a platform. People doing stuff like this now have a platform because it used to be just like the record business where it was like, if you weren't signed to a label, then sorry about it. Like, pay to play, sorry about it, whatever. But then people started going, I can be a label, put my own stuff out. Look
Make
what we have
money
now. I can do my own records. I can do my own music videos. Like, I don't need you, middle guy, to help me. And so it's the same thing now with, like, the acting thing, where I can create content and it gets seen by more people than a network television show. Now, I'm so grateful to the network shows, like, I've been on the Mindy Project and Hawaii Five-0 and even Nickelodeon, Henry Danger, like all that stuff. And I love it. I mean, who doesn't like to be treated like a movie star? It feels so great, to like have the big black van come and pick you up and you got a dressing room and the whole zhuzh like we dream about when we're kids. You're like, I'm living it. I'm doing it. But at the same thing, it's like, you can't whinge and go like, I can't be a star in a show. Like nobody will, you. Yeah. So write something for you and then buy one of these cameras and film it and then edit it and put it out. And more people get discovered that way. You're in your own way is all I'm saying. If you're not taking this time, especially to do a radio show, to do your own content, you can't be mad at anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. So back to it. Like, are you?
I want to ask about the voiceover stuff.
Yeah. What are you doing for this voiceover stuff? We keep hearing about.
It's a really cool thing because not a lot of people understand kind of what voiceovers are.
Yeah, you don't really think about how much. If you start, it's like blue car syndrome. If you start going like, you buy a car and then all of a sudden all you see is that car you just bought. You're like, what? Yeah. For me, you don't realize how much voiceover there is because it's almost just like noise, but every YouTube thing you click, every commercial, everything, there's somebody sitting at their house going, happy Honda days, blah, blah, and somebody's paying them to do it. So I was curious about that.
Do you want to do one right now?
I do, of course. With my radio voice. So I thought I would get hired for like the kooky, quacky character because I do so many crazy things with my voice, right? Mm-hmm. I just keep getting hired for meditation stuff, which if you watch Beasto, you would never imagine that yellow-eyed, dreadlocked creature would be talking you to sleep. But I have what they call a maternal guiding light voice. And it's hard.
Talk about being typecast.
I know, look at me.
Hey, that's not a bad thing. A maternal guiding. I mean,
she could play a great old woman.
You really have a grandma quality to your voice.
So what, you want to do a call map or do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, if you need somebody to fall asleep quickly, it's like half witchcraft and half my voice.
Can we put Trevor to sleep right now?
Oh, I'd love it. I need to go to sleep too. I'm so tired.
I can do, but it's the difference. Like nobody can teach you. I mean, I guess they're classes, I guess, but it's just you have to take if you want to do it with me. So let's say you're doing the call map, right? Instead of speaking from your throat or your nose. Everything comes, take out all the push and just breathe it out. That's it. You literally just let your breath do the work.
Now I'm already falling asleep.
Directly to sleep. But you see, and then
we can't do this.
If
No. We can.
No.
What we can give her something that's actually completely off topic to introduce. Like,
We'll figure
I don't
it out.
know. No, hold on. Nick Carter is releasing the new Head and Shoulders advert. Go.
Okay.
Nick Carter.
So,
What
Nick,
I don't know.
so when you say to me, maybe this is like all my years at the Groundlings at the Improv. So when you say to me, Nick Carter, I instantly go teenage girl. So who are we marketing to? Teenage girls. So if you say go, I'm thinking teenage girl, excited to see Nick Carter. And I'm like, Nick Carter is releasing his new record. We have to go.
Oh my Lord.
Don't you just love it?
This has gone on a crazy tangent, and I love it. Well, that's cool. That's cool that you're doing a bunch of voiceover stuff, and obviously you're doing a lot of cool stuff in film and everything.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they open the studios back up, like, obviously, it's nice to get... And I don't know why we didn't do this before, by the way. But now all of these auditions are at home, and so a lot of these shows are coming back, especially ones that are filming overseas.
Yeah.
So like The Witcher and things like that. And so I'm getting auditions for these things, and they're going, put yourself on tape. Why weren't we doing that?
Yeah.
Because I'm old school LA, which is to say my car is essentially an RV. So when I get in the car in the morning to go to an audition an hour and a half away in Beverly Hills,
Everything's in the back.
everything, dude, I might have to sleep in there. I don't know, because of rush hour. Yeah. So, and then I would go in and do my like 5 lines. I'm like, no, Dad, you're the one that needs to be sorry. Okay, thank you. And then drive an hour and a half home. So, I mean, that's what I was used to. And when you get an audition, that's your whole day.
Yeah.
Getting there, trying to find parking, give yourself an hour. And I always see actresses that like first come out here, and you can tell because they're like flustered and they're 5 minutes late because they couldn't find parking. And I'm just like, bro, respect the hustle. Yeah. Like, this is your day today. This is all you're doing. If you really want it, you'll be there 30 minutes early. Cash as everything. You know what I mean? Don't overdress. Like, if anybody's listening that's trying to be an actor, like, I know going in for doctor roles, you're like, oh, I have scrubs. Unless they say, show up in scrubs, you look like a crazy person.
Yep.
And nobody wants to work on a series with crazy person because the leads are already crazy people. Yeah. I guarantee you. Yeah. So it's like, just be cool. Like, white t-shirt and jeans. I'm a doctor.
I think that's really interesting, though, about filming. Mm-hmm. Doing everything beforehand. I mean, you can imagine that a lot more people would get, I don't know, parts, or just being able to set up a GoPro and sit there and, hey, look, I've got this audition. Click.
Right.
Send. And then the people that are actually casting can go through hundreds of these.
And
they can be like, no, don't like it, like it.
Scrub,
no.
Yeah,
it's
scrub
short
the
list,
footage.
go.
Well, it's got to be better too, because if you do it on film, you can film yourself, and if that sucked, instead of your one shot standing there, you can get your good shot, load it up, and there you go. This is my best work. Do you like it or not?
Right, and it really does help. Like, I always tell people that are moving here, and they're like, okay, give me the shortcuts here. Like, what did you do that wasted time? What did you do that worked? And for me, it's like, when you have an in-person audition, I don't know why everyone's impulse is to come into the room and tell them about your day. Oh man, the traffic, it was so hot. Oh, can you believe this and that? And it's like, it's not that the casting people are cold. It's just that they have to see 1,000 of you. Yeah. And I remember, like, I've been on the other side of the table.
Are you talking about for the monologue they try and pitch out, or just saying hello, how's the weather?
Yeah, just before you even start your thing, it's just like, it's tough. And I know it seems cold, but it's like, you actually stand out when you're calm and confident and you've got something going on already. And then they go, okay, whenever you're ready, take a minute. You know what I mean? Yeah. And actors also forget when they put out a role, like what they call an arc. So you're in 3 episodes of something. The fact that you got called in for an audition means that you're one of about 2,000 people that auditioned, that got put out for this job. So just the fact that you got the audition, you should give yourself some grace and credit to know that whatever you did in your photo or whatever you did in your little reel, they looked at it and they go, okay, that works. And so it kind of gives you confidence when you walk into the room already knowing, hey, I'm already picked out of 2,000 people. Yeah. Now there's about 10 of us. Mm-hmm. I hope I get picked again.
Yeah. It's the same kind of thing with music too. I remember when pitching bands, and you send out your demo tape, like, you're like, oh shit. And I remember there was this. I can't remember what the fuck his name was. His name was Nick.
Carter.
Not Nick Carter.
Way to bring the Nick Carter back.
We love Nick, friend of the show.
I was a kid. I was like 12 years old, and I played a alternative rock band.
Oh shoot!
And I was at, I don't know how the hell I went in with one of my older friends. I used to hang out with people that are 17 or 18 when I was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
Went to this show, and it was at the Mean Fiddler in London. And it was the Astoria.
Oh, okay.
And then it was the Astoria 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I was like, hey, just talking to this guy, and there was like 12 people in the Mean Fiddler. This is like 1,000 cap room.
Yeah.
And I had a few beers. We were at 13 years old, living in the UK.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. And I walked up to this guy. I was like, why the hell are you here? Because, there's 13 people in this giant room. And he turned out to be the director of A&R for RCA Records. And I was like...
So they were showcasing that
Nick,
night.
I fucked if I can fucking remember what the hell his last name was now.
But dude, your attitude switches real quick. You're just like, hey, how's it? Hey.
I looked at his card and I was like, oh, no shit.
Yeah.
And ended up becoming a friend. Like,
that's so cool.
Randomly, I was like the 12-year-old drunk kid that was like American living in London, and they were like,
that's a unique position to be in, though. It's hard to forget.
Drunk American kid comes up to you
and says, who the hell are you?
But it's like a pitching thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're constantly trying to hustle your shit.
With Beasto, with my band Beasto Blanco, it's one of those things where first hurdle was not having it be, Chuck Garrick, the other lead singer, is my dad's bass player. So it was a hurdle for it to not be a side project. Oh, this is Chuck's side project, right? And then it was a hurdle for me to go, oh, this is Alice's daughter's band. Yeah. So they're going to do spooky shit and they're going to whatever. And I was like, no, I want to do sci-fi stuff. I want to do robots and weird, because that's what I like.
Yeah.
I had to get over myself, not in the way you think. I had to get over myself in a way of I started becoming that person I was talking about where after a show, someone would come up to me and they go, oh man, you are explosive on stage. You remind me so much of your dad. And I go, when is the last time that he jumped off the risers and did anything I'm doing? You know what I mean? Besides the magnetism.
Yeah.
And I never put people on the spot and be like, how? Exactly how? Is it just that I'm good on stage? Is that it? Because I'm trying to overcome this. So it was really difficult for a while after the show. We're so blessed to have the Alice fans came with us because of all that. They started the Loyal Beasts, which are the fan club, and they were showing up with Beasto tattoos and live fast, die loud. People were grabbing onto this credo and onto what we were selling basically. And I think what makes it work is that it's not an act, if that makes any sense. Chuck and I are very genuinely insane. And it works. When we turn it on stage, I don't know what is happening there, but it's working. And I think we started garnering teenage fans when we did the tour with Hailstorm. All of a sudden, I was noticing my Instagram, and there's teenage girls dressed up like my character. And I'm going... And so I started to get over myself in a way of I was trying so hard to not get compared to my dad that I was holding myself back. I was going... I can't do that face or can't do that. And then I just realized, hold on a minute. If there was ever, they talk about rock royalty.
Yeah.
I go, why am I not stepping up as the heiress to the throne of rock and roll? And I was like, these other girls aren't doing it. They're having fashion careers, which is so cool. I wish I could do that. I can barely dress myself. Black works. Or amazing, careers in this or that, the other thing. And I go, who's doing this? Who's really saying, I accept and going for it? And so, when we booked this, it's, coming up, hopefully it still happens, the Monsters of Rock.
Yeah. The live stream.
I really went for it. And we did a live stream. And it was the first time that I have a piece of film where you can see what Beasto is, right? At its capacity. And we're doing our very first show. Beasto will be playing alongside Alice, right? Hopefully there's a Monsters of Rock 2021, which is this big thing. And my dad and I were sitting there a couple nights ago. I was in Phoenix, and He goes, so? He goes, Beasto, huh? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well. And he goes, I feel like there's a little, I don't know, is there a little, and I go, a little what? And he goes, I don't know, you guys are a pretty big deal on that Monsters of Rock thing. And I said, Dad, it's on. Yeah, I was like, let's go. I'm Gloves ready. Off. I'm finally ready to go toe to toe with you in the most loving way. But I think I got you. And he's like, we'll see about that. And I'm like, okay, we will.
Cat clothing for all the cat lovers in us.
Visit catclothing.net for their full line of cat-inspired clothes.
Hoodies, shirts, tanks, shorts, and even fitness gear are now fully in stock for the fall and winter season.
Again, visit catclothing.net today. Check it out. Thanks, everybody.
Meow, meow.
So you're doing a live stream on Halloween, too, aren't you?
Yeah, so the Monsters of Rock have asked us to come back, and I'm racking my brain for something new. And I find inspiration in the weirdest places, right? Like, you know, I was just walking here and there's a house that's completely torn down and there's just the chimney.
Yeah. 2 doors down.
Yeah. And something about that sparked something. And I was like, okay.
Very Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. And so what are we going to do on Halloween? I think we're going to do 3 songs, right, that we've never done live. And I think we can dig deeper than Frankenstein. I think we can, because we covered Feed My Frankenstein, which was a hard sell for me. And I, like I said, love my dad's music, love my dad. But it was a suggestion that as an homage to the Alice fans that were following us, like, they really want you to do an Alice song. And I go, why? He's so good at what he's doing. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel?
Let's see what you mean. Yeah.
And so Chuck came to me with Brother Latham, our guitar player, and he goes, all right, I'm not going to tell you what song this is. And he goes, just listen to the riff. So they start playing, and I was like, is this like one of the songs from Kill Bill? I mean, it had like this really cool twangy. And then once they got into the chorus, I recognized the drum pattern, and I went, is this Feed My Frankenstein? And he goes, yeah. Can you still do that Mae West voice? And I was like,
Mae West.
Yeah. Because that's the thing is, I could never sing, but I'm a mockingbird. So if you say, sing like Celine Dion, I can do it. I'm not a good singer. I'm just a good impersonator.
That's cool.
And so he goes, do a Mae West. And I was like, okay. Well, I'm not right. So I started like doing all the breathy thing, and he goes, oh, that's it. So we did it, and it got a really good reception. But that was about as far as I wanted to go with it. I mean, I know we used to close the show with Schools Out, and it kind of like was a boner killer for me, because I had this great show and people were like into it, and then they'd start Schools Out, and it was like, I sort of felt like dance monkey dance. Like people want to see a little mini girl Alice running around, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give you that. Could I do it? Yeah.
Plus, you close with your own stuff.
Your own stuff.
Remembering Beasto, not remembering, hey, Alice Cooper closed that thing.
I have the confidence to close this.
You don't want to make it a gimmick. You know, like it kind of cheapens it.
It does. And I felt like it really took the air out of the room at the end. And so, you know, I sat down. I told Chuck, I said, look, with all due respect, I have confidence enough in us that we don't have to close the Schools Out. And he goes, I'm so glad you said that. He goes, it literally just makes me go, every time. And the people love it. They're screaming and yelling, but they would also scream and yell if we did Born to Raise Hell. They would also scream and yell, but why are we doing anybody's songs? Our songs are really cool.
Yeah.
Like, we look cool. Like, they're happy. We're good.
Yeah. Do your own shit.
Yeah. I just have to have the confidence to say, I can do it. And I think, again, that's the line of like stepping out of a famous last name and going, I love and respect and acknowledge that I am from this lineage, and I will bend the knee all day long to House Stark. You know what I mean? Like, it is very Game of Thronesy, and I claim that as like my lineage. But also, I finally gained the confidence to just do what I want to do, and not go, how does that reflect on, and like, is that?
Well, you seem you're very extrovert of a person,
but so sensitive too. It's a weird.
Sensitive.
I've cried. I've cried twice today.
That's awesome.
You don't know
Every
me
time
like
we
that.
hang out, I'm like, what the hell? What is that? What? Seriously, when we just in retrospect, when this girl hangs out, she's the life of the party, and there's no crying in baseball for that at all. And then now I'm hearing him crying twice a day. I'm like, what?
Well, I study.
Chuck does not tell me this when he calls me.
He does not. I study with Helen Hunt.
Okay.
And she's one of my acting teachers, and we're doing Zoom stuff, and you have to be open. You have to be like accessible, and the hardest word is vulnerable for me. I grew up with 40 men and learned to not be very vulnerable. So undoing all that and being able to access it when I need it, it's not like some soap opera thing where it's like, and she cries.
Yeah.
It's got to come from a real place. And a great note of hers is she goes, when you're playing somebody that has to cry, she goes, try your hardest not to. Then it will come. Because that's what real people do. Yeah. If their feelings hurt, they're like, no, it's cool. Like, I'm so good. Yeah. And in a close-up, that reads. We understand that. We love that. Drunk people don't act, bad actors are like, I'm drunk. Drunk people are like, they're trying their hardest to appear sober. Like, they miss the table and try to recover. So today she was asking, she says, what is your most memorable hello ever?
Huh.
Wait, you took an acting class this morning with Helen Hunt? Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay.
And she says, I had to leave early because I had this radio show.
Yeah.
But she, and it got me in the feels, dude. And like other people were talking about when I first met my wife or like this or that. And mine was when I first laid eyes on my nephew, and it was like under the lights of a Christmas. It was so cinematic. It was under the lights of a Christmas tree, and my brother turned around. First kid that like of my judge, that's my brother's kid. And he goes, someone's been dying to meet you. And I looked at him, and I was like, why is this happening? It was joy. How often do you cry tears of joy? And that was my most memorable hello, because I took him and sat down, and everybody left the room, and I remember the little Christmas lights on his face, and I went, hello. And he opened his eyes, and it's weird. That's the only love at first sight I've ever had, where like within 5 seconds I was like, I will die for this child. Unequivocally, like no questions asked.
It's your blood,
right?
I guess it's cool that you can recall that though, and then it helps you obviously in your acting career where you're not crying right now.
I am. Oh my God. No, but
third time.
Thinking about this.
Third time.
Don't make her cry, Trevor.
No, but
if you're an actor or an actress, like
you have to be able.
You have to be able to cry on cue.
Yeah.
And it can't come from a fake place. It has to come from a place that's real, and so I think like training with people like her, and like there's this woman Ivana Chubbuck who's like she's amazing, but you have to be tough. You have to be more tough to be vulnerable than I can ever explain. Yeah. Like, how brave do you have to be to stand in front of a bunch of people, chewing gum and like talking on their phones and everything like that, and you're supposed to be at your dying mother's bedside, and you don't want it to be maudlin and like, no, Mom, why? Can you just sit there and create a space where nobody's there but you and your mom, and just be fine with whatever happens? That's ballsy.
Yeah.
It's hard. And you don't know if you look good. You might look awful, but that's okay, because you're not going to look good sitting in that position. And those are the performances we talk about, right? So
pretty much everything Leonardo DiCaprio does.
Ever. He's amazing. Big fan.
Have you ever seen the behind the scenes stuff where like he sets up for a scene, they'll just make the whole set go quiet, and he just sits there for a second, he thinks about it, and all of a sudden it's like, all of a sudden he's that guy. Like,
transformed.
Oh my God.
That was in
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And then they did Wolf of Wall.
He's like,
they did Wolf of Wall Street too, where he's sitting there in front of the camera, and all of a sudden, like he's like bullshitting with somebody off stage, and then they say, 14 seconds, and he'll just sit there like this, and then all of a sudden, boom, he was,
yeah,
he's in character. I was like, holy crap!
It is, and it's a muscle, like any other muscle. You have to flex it, and if you get really good, and you're like a legend, like he is, you can. There's shortcuts. Mm-hmm. There's things you can do quicker that will affect you, and it's not cheap. You have to change them all the time, because if it's not real, when you have a camera this close to your face, it can literally read your mind. Yeah. I could be sitting there doing nothing, and if I'm thinking about how much I have to pee, it's gonna show even if I don't do anything. Yeah. It's somehow we have this weird connection where we get it. Mm-hmm. And I never learned. It took me so long to learn that like I don't have to indicate. Like if I'm uncomfortable, I don't have to be like, I'm uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like if I'm uncomfortable, I'm just be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's all in the eyes, and it's all in the small things but you have to really get to a place where you're like, oh yeah, remember when I was on tour And that guy had me cornered, and I had to be nice because he was like the head of the label. And then all of a sudden you're there and you don't have to push.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You'd be surprised what you remember. I was surprised. I did all my makeup for the show, and I was like, she goes, so tell me about your most memorable hello. And I was like, what? And I wasn't planning on crying. I go, well, I walked in and I saw him under and I was like, and I was laughing going, I am so sorry. I have no idea what's happening, but be brave enough to be like,
to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
What's the weirdest audition you've ever had?
Oh my.
Yeah. Go. Good story coming. Good story coming here.
There's going to be one here that you're like, okay.
There is a downside to sometimes not saying who you are, because my lineage sometimes gets me out of the seedier, like nobody wants to put me in that position because then they'd have to answer to a higher power, right?
Yeah.
But
which is kind of, to be honest, that's, people shouldn't do that anyway.
Shouldn't be doing it anyway.
Yeah. Like, doesn't matter.
So saying like walking onto a set thinking you're auditioning, you end up in a porn thing, or what are you saying? Okay, gotcha. That was
so,
welcome to LA.
Yeah, and this was fairly early on, but I got a call. The movie. No, I can't say the movie. It's a vampire movie, right? That came out, and it was supposed to be very like hip and new and today and the whole thing. And I got a call there was an official music video, right, that this like rapper was going to do for the vampire movie, and he wanted sexy vampire girls, right? So I get the call, and they're like, and again, we're not using last names. It's like they literally just went through photos, and we're like, oh, she looks weird and creepy, so let's get her. And so we get to the audition, and they said, we'd like you to be in a black bra and black underwear so we can see, which is acceptable because they do that in model things, whatever. I'm also edgy enough to know if I got there, I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing this. So I put on black bra and underwear, and they said, if you can find vampire teeth, bring them. So I was still touring with my dad, and there was a part during Go to Hell where I was the guardian of the gates of hell, and I had these vampire teeth, but they weren't cute. They had to read to an arena, so they had these big like walrus tusk things where I was like, grr, right? So those are the ones I have, and I'm not going to spend money on stupid teeth. I have them, whatever. So I show up, and they took us in groups of 5, and I walked into this room, and it's got all these lights about this size, and there's a crash pad, like a gymnastics mat.
Oh, okay.
On the
ground.
ground.
Like somebody's living there. But
yeah. Like, what's up? Come on in. I'm like, no.
That's Brian. He just hangs out.
Yeah, dude on the couch.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, when everyone's comfortable, they're like, please get down to your bra and underwear. And even at this point, I've never done anything like this. And this is like in my head, like, oh God, this is like what all these actresses talk about. And I was like, okay. So I like take off my sundress, and I'm just like, at least it's me and 4 other girls, and I don't feel like as whatever. So I take it off, and I'm standing in my bra and underwear, and they go, now if you brought teeth, please put them in. And so all these other girls are gorgeous, right? And I'm just sort of like the odd, really tall girl. I was like, okay, clearly I'm the tall choice. And so we turn around and put our teeth in, and all the other girls turn back around, and they're like all hot, and they have these tiny little like mirror, right? Like fangs, right? Like cute girl fangs.
You're like,
I turn around and
saber tooth.
Like I literally, and they're way too big, and I'm so embarrassed, and I'm like, oh my God,
that's too good.
Why did I not think about this? And here's the best part. So they have everybody get on all 4s on the mat. At every step, I am pushing a boundary that I thought I would never.
Like,
and I
they
was
were filming this audition, correct?
They're filming
okay,
this.
yeah. So they were actually shooting the video.
Right.
I got it. Yeah. So they were trying to get the free work. I get it.
I get on my hands and knees with my big ass walrus tusk. They're like, all right. They're like, on action. They're like, I want you to just claw at each other and like, like bite each other's necks and just like grab on each other. And I'm thinking, they are saving all this video, and so they're going to sell it on the dark web. And I'm already here. And again, I do what I do best when I get uncomfortable. I'm like, all right, you want it? You got it. And so I was like, I'm going to win this because I feel so awkward and like this is not my zhuzh, but I'm here, so let's do it. So I go for it like an animal. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I'm a vampire, I'm like
Fuck
pushing
it, we're
the other.
doing this.
I like push this one girl down on her back, right? Like manhandle her. I was like, boom, right? And I'm crawling on her, and she's like, eh. And all the other girls were going like this. They're on their all fours, and they're like, rare, rare, rare.
You're like choking one out in the corner.
I choke slammed this girl. I was like, goosh. And I was like pulling her hair back, and I was like, dude, I'm totally getting this. So now you've got this director's looking at me like, who is this 8-foot tall saber tooth that's like bitch slapping these girls around? I'm like, is that not what you wanted? So he said, okay, let's take it again. He's like, girl with the bigger teeth. He's like, be a little more gentle. I'm like, okay. And so he goes, I was going to save this to surprise you. But the star of this movie is watching in the other room, closed circuit, and he is gonna, at the time this guy was like the hottest thing on the planet. He goes, he is watching, so do it for this guy and really make him notice you, because he's gonna be the one that picks the girls. And all the other girls are going, ee! And I'm going, shit, dude, he goes to parties that I go to, like I have to face this guy later. and I thank God I'm unrecognizable, at this point. I have all this
because of your giant walrus
like,
teeth.
Yeah, you're never gonna be like, oh, I see. So I'm like, geez, literally. And so but just the idea that the guy says, he goes, he's in the other room now, do it for him. And these girls are like, and doing this whole thing.
Like, oh, shit.
I was like, oh. And then I really got one of those clarity moments where I'm like, wait a minute. For 1 second, remember who you are.
Yeah.
And you've driven an hour and a half in your underpants to crawl around with a bunch of girls on the floor for some actor that you're probably not even casting anything.
Yeah.
Just
He's
to
probably
see
not even
who'll
back
do
there.
it. No, he's not.
Yeah.
And just to see a bunch of girls touch on each other, and I got mad.
Yeah.
But
You choked her out even harder.
yeah, I just kind of like phoned it in that time. I was like, I just wanted out of there so bad. So bad. And then the drive home, I was just like so bummed, where I go, God, this is what women deal with all the time. And that was my first experience actually being put in that position.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and then I saw the video, and there's like, I'm not kidding, there's like 3 seconds of 2 vampire girls going, right, and that's it. And I was like,
so the casting lasted 10 times
oh
longer
God,
than
there
it
were
went?
100 girls there in their underwear
Holy
and
shit.
teeth.
Yeah.
I guess to ask, what was the going rate if you landed the role?
Oh, it's probably no. For music video, you don't have to be union, so it's whatever they want to give you.
So you could have got $20 for that.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's about
it's-
100.
yeah.
They'll throw you $100.
I have no idea, yeah.
No, for real. Like if you're not, they can go, hey,
you're
it's
an
a
extra.
16-hour shoot day. We'll throw you $100 and food.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. I mean,
And then
My-
you're famous because you're in the video.
yeah. My first gig in LA, literally, first thing I ever booked was an extra on 7th Heaven. I was the manager of the Dairy Shack. And the guy did one of these. He comes into like 5 a.m., right? And I'm just trying to get experience. Like, I want to see how things work. And he comes in, he looks over every, 50 extras that are all like, because it's 5, right? And you get paid $50, whatever it was at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But the gig was, you had to get 3 vouchers. And they only had 3 to give out every day. And so everyone was vying for that voucher. And if you get 3, then you're eligible for SAG. So it used to be a cat fight to get them. So he comes back and he's like looking around. He's like, no. And he lands on me and he goes, you, come here. And I was like, what? And he goes, you look girl next doory. And I went,
What am I casting for now?
what? And he goes, you're going to be the manager of the Dairy Shack. And I was like, okay.
Did you
So,
get a line?
Yeah,
Oh,
here's
okay.
your shake. What's my line?
You got a line,
But
though.
that's double the pay then, right? Yeah.
I said, here's your shake. And like, whichever London it was, and or Jeremy or Jason, he's like, thanks. And then like turns away. But it was so crazy because like, think about that versus, because you have a wholesome face versus, 2 weeks later, I'm writhing around in my underpants with teeth because they're like, oh, you look like a vampire. I'm like,
That's
what am
LA.
I doing with my life? But I'm glad I did it because now I can tell other people that are trying to do it, look at, here's what I wouldn't, but I needed everything that happened to get where I'm at now. I needed all that stuff to happen, and I needed to not be able to like run to my famous parent and go, and if you could just call and make this happen. It was like, no,
Yeah.
No.
You want to be like, hey, Dad, this is what I did.
Literally one of the proudest moments of my life was when I was coming to visit him on tour. I'd stopped touring with him for a while, and I came on the bus and we were talking. And as we were talking, one of the movies that I was in, he was switching the channels, and it was just happened to be right on my scene. And I'm, scientist or whatever. And I'm like, no, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, oh, look, Callie's on TV. And it just so happened that it was like a bus full of people that you want to impress. And I had to do the thing, like look over my shoulder. I'm like, oh, that, yeah. Anyway. But I was like, yes.
Yeah, you got to do the Hollywood thing. No,
whatever.
That's an old tone of mine.
Yeah. I don't do scientist roles anymore. But it was just like, thank you, God, for that timing. Like, I couldn't have prayed for it to go better.
That's awesome. That's a cool story.
So, 2 things that you want to know about Trevor that you...
Oh, God. What the hell? Where'd that shit come from? All right.
2 things you always wanted to ask Trevor.
Okay. Ask Trevor.
Look at the
I feel like I'm on blind date right now or something
okay,
like that.
I know like is it just that one Backstreet Boys song you know by heart, or do you know more than one?
I know almost all of them, but they are nothing compared to NSYNC. NSYNC is the kings.
Okay.
JT, obviously the king.
Yeah.
But Backstreet Boys, they did a great show. Last year's tour, I was actually at that for 2 show dates. We had a previous guest on, Eddie Meehan, who is their head of VIP, and he'd always hook us up with tickets. And
Rad.
My fiance went nuts over that because obviously, and then because she's the one that gets all the perks of all the crap that I do. I mean, not crap, sorry. It's very good stuff that I do with music history. But she gets to meet all the bands, and how it is. You lose the luster of like, oh man, that's Leonardo DiCaprio over there. I'm like, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. Can I get a drink, please?
Yeah, he's in the way of the bar, the open bar. Well, I asked that because after NAMM, we went to this dirt bar. Yeah. And there was like 2 people in there besides me and Trevor and Chuck, and
no, that wasn't NAMM. Wasn't NAMM?
It was NAMM.
Because me and Chuck were golfing
that day. NAMM, for everybody out there, NAMM is a show down in Orange County where a whole bunch of gear. She was not really talking about Vietnam.
No, not Nam.
I realized why you asked me.
But it's like
Backstreet Boys commercial. I just realized why you asked me that.
I did. So we get there, and there's like a couple people there, and we just decide like, look, we're just going to go for it. And I ended up, I think, like standing on Trevor, and both of us were singing, "You Are My Fire," and he was like, and I thought I was like,
straight up kicks in.
I thought I was giving him a hard time, right? And I do the mic, and I go, "I want it that way," and I put it, and he goes, "Tell me why," and I was like, "Oh, damn, dude!"
I wish I could be embarrassed by that, but it's so true.
It's so awesome, and that's when I was like, I like Trevor. He's cool.
Hey, boy bands rock, man.
They do.
Yeah.
Agent Live 360, the world's first and only publicly offered CRM software designed specifically for sports agents.
AL360 is an incredible state-of-the-art software that does everything from keeping track of clients, professional, and college teams, to even company finances and client return on investment.
This system does it all. Visit agentlive360.com for full details.
Go check it out.
I'm more impressed by boy bands of the fact that it's like they're like Nickelback. Everybody hates on it, but they're so good.
They're so good, right? And I just had this conversation about, I am unabashedly a huge Blink-182 fan. And part of the reason is it reminds me, it wasn't music that my parents introduced me to. You kind of like their music until you figure out what you like.
Yeah.
They were the first band that I saw live in a crappy punk rock club in Phoenix. And I was too young to be in there. I got snuck in. And I felt something. I was like, yeah.
Who was on the bill?
I can only remember, I think it was Blink-182 and like...
The reason I ask is we just had Darren Pfeiffer from Goldfinger on the show. So
yeah,
and they used to tour a ton together. So
I cannot remember, but I just remember being like, this is the coolest thing. And I bought, the bootleg, like Cheshire Cat, whatever. And that was like my identity. And so when I got my driver's license, I would drive around like listening to Blink-182 and like, my friends liked the boy bands and stuff like that. And that was like my identity. And it reminds me of a time when nothing mattered. It reminds me of a time, like, and that must be how like our parents feel when they like listen to certain music and you're like, it's good, but they like have a moment. And for me, like even driving here, I have a Blink playlist. And I'm driving through all the smoke and gnarly stuff, and I'm just like, God, I love this music. I just love it. Cool. I love it.
So that's one.
Oh my God, you're going back to it. Yeah.
I said two things.
I have no.
We could have said 5.
Well, I could have. I always got a million questions.
You're gonna put her on the spot.
Boxers or briefs?
Who wears underwear? That's
I love it.
Get out of my chair.
I'm not the kind of person you're going to put in a rap video because that's not going to be good.
So. You might be the only guy wearing underwear at this table right now. Let's just put it like that.
I think I am.
Saucy.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Oh, my God.
All right.
I don't want to know anything about you, Adam, just so you know that. I mean, I respect the hell out of you, but I now know that Calico cries at least twice a day, and that's enough for me.
I do.
Moment, so.
You're going to have to digest that, aren't you, for
I'm
a
going to
while?
have to think about that. I'm like, that's one more time than normal.
I think I need to go into, for business and for pleasure, I need to go into makeup and find on stage. I still have not been able to find something that can like fight me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so animated and can't help but touching my face. And at the end, it's cool, but it's like a Picasso. Like everything is just everywhere, which is rad.
What about the Jeffree Star stuff? Or what's the one that you can like paint on your face and doesn't come off for 3 days? Like Max or whatever it is? Or
yeah, there's a couple of things that do work. Like Jeffree Star stuff works. There's color stay. Anything that says color stay, you have to like chip it off. With the thing. But in real life, because I tear up a lot, like they say it's waterproof for weddings, like, oh my God, this is the best day of my life. But for me, every now and then, I'm just like, I'll see a kid and a cat. And I'm like, oh man, it's really cute. Oh, sorry. Oh man, I did it. You know what I mean? So I always have like, my lineage is always coming. I have Alice eyes all the time. Like, no wonder people are like, I know who you are.
One, travel wise, like since we can't travel, obviously, I'm sure you're going back and forth to Phoenix. I don't know if you're flying or whatever, but I mean, you're always in Hawaii because of Shep, obviously, and how close your guys' family are. When's the last time you were in Hawaii?
So we went, I think it was New Year's. We always go Christmas and New Year's since I was a kid, and it's like a month we stay, and that's the official Cooper family, like unplugged, no phones. Like it's at a compound, Shep's place is so amazing. I got married there. My sister got married there. I broke my first bone there, like as a kid. Like it's got so many memories. And we were just talking about it when I was home. I go, hey, what are we going to do for Christmas and New Year's? And we were kind of like, I don't know. Because we've just done that for so many years. And like, I don't know if we know how to do New Year's without it. We're just going to like sit there and watch Ghost Hunters and be like, well, it's another year, I guess. But yeah, I'm really like missing it. I don't even know if it's on the table. Like, would we want to endanger people? Like, I'm coming from like LA. Yeah. So, if I was anybody else, I'd be like, you just stay with your smoky hair and your disease over there. Yeah. But, yeah. So I love that house so much. I love the story behind it. I think it was like the early 70s. And at the time, Maui was just dirt. Yeah. Like dirt roads. Everybody had bikes. There was no cars, no gas stations, no nothing. And, Shep made his first money on Alice. And he goes, I'm going to buy land, beachfront property in Hawaii. And everybody goes, are you insane? $50,000 for like 4 acres? Like, are you kidding me? No, that's pathetic.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. Now it's worth something in the rounds of 30. Mm-hmm. It's upwards of 30 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And such an open place. Like usually when somebody has something that's worth that much, it's very like, who goes there? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. House is always open. Beach is always open. Like you wander through and like.
Is he like that with everybody? It's just very...
He's very, very open and receptive unless you give him a reason to not be. Okay. You know what I mean? He's not friendly in the way of like, hey, tell me all about yourself. He's like a very zen dude that like, he can pick up on your vibe. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I got introduced to him via a friend of mine in London. And we were going back and forth in email. And he was like, yeah, next time you're in Hawaii, make sure you come out to my house. Right. And I remember hearing that he was very, very just, come out, I'll cook for you, whatever. And
cooks
I was
every
like,
night.
Cool.
Will do. Yeah. But it's a vibe that like is not often found with people that have a lot of status or a lot of money. A lot of people are like, stay out. Like, I don't want you.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And I think that that's probably why he and my dad have had a 45-year relationship, and they never had a contract.
I remember hearing this too. Yeah.
And because
still the greatest documentary.
God put those two
you,
people
Mike
together. Yeah. You know, like, who knew that Alice Cooper was actually a really stand-up guy that wanted to work hard, and who knew that Shep Gordon was like a complete like visionary and ball buster that was going to get it done, and it just worked.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they're enjoying obviously the fruits of their labor, but neither one of them has gone, well, maybe we just kind of enjoy this and kick back a little bit. I mean, nobody was more upset than my dad when touring up. He tours 8 months out of the year.
Still?
I believe me, I get the update on your dad's stuff all the time, and it's crazy.
And he goes, what am I going to do?
I remember actually seeing that he was going to play a show in Canada.
Well, you guys know about this fake concert thing, right? This is a thing. I'm going on Facebook, and it's like, bands that I know aren't together anymore. It's like, oh, Sugar Cult at the Whiskey. And I'm like, what? Or it's like, you know, Buck Cherry here. I'm like, what? Like, I'm stoked. And then I look at it and I go, there's no way this can be real. Yeah. But it's a scam going on.
They're selling tickets to
to fake concerts. And people are buying them, and then the page just disappears. And there's obviously no show, but they're up and down. I saw
that's crazy. My
dad's assistant posted one where it was like, Hollywood Vampires in like New Jersey. And it's like $80 a ticket, 150 VIP. First of all,
yeah, 150 for VIP for that. Yeah. Johnny alone is like 10 grand.
Yeah, you should know that's not real. But yeah, and so he's clicking on it, and it's like, these people must be making
they're scamming
good amount of money. Shoot, out.
The same thing happened with the whole weights thing when the first pandemic hit. And, $99 for a full weight set, and like 70,000 people bought it, and then all of a sudden the site disappears.
Can I tell you that I did not know about this until literally a month ago? I went on Amazon, and I was looking for 20s, 30s, and 50s.
Doesn't exist.
Right? And I go, how hard can it be? Right? And I go in to look, and there they are for the low price of $89.99. And they go, pick anything, 3 of any weight. Yeah. And I go, shipping alone has got to be $89. And I was like, all right, maybe they don't know what they got.
Did you
get
bit? I got bit too.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Bit bad. And I was really embarrassed because I know better. And so I clicked it, and they were like, on its way. And then like, it was a week late, and 2 weeks late, and 3 weeks late. And I turned into a total Karen, and I called Amazon. And I was like, well, I'm disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, I'll call your manager. And the lady, she kind of like put me in my place, to be honest. She goes, so I've looked into your claim. We looked at the Amazon seller, and she's like, they have 0 reviews and 0 sales. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I know. Like, I totally didn't look at that. I saw $89.99, and like a big dumb asshole, I was like, click. Yeah. And actually thought they were going to show up. And then I went on the site that was like, yeah, no followers, no this, no that. And I guess I learned a lesson, and I was like, can I have my stuff? My $89 back? Like, and they were like, yeah, eventually. And so it's like within like 30 business days, I'll be receiving my grand total of $89.99 back. But it was just sort of like, I was embarrassed. Shame on me.
Yeah. Biggest thing you have to remember, anything you buy on Amazon has to be fulfilled by Amazon, because then you know it's in their warehouse.
Yeah.
If you don't buy it, if you buy it the other way, then you run the risk of, it's probably not going to be right. So.
Right. My stage dreadlock is an amazing story. I was looking for big teal dreadlocks for the Hailstorm tour, because I was like, oh, like they'll pick up in the blue light and the black light. And so I see on Amazon, there's like this big bundle of like gorgeous long blue dreadlocks. And I'm like, yeah. And I look, I'm like, $11.99? How is that possible? I click, and I'm waiting, and the package shows up, and it's legit this big. And I go, I wonder what this is. Maybe I got drunk and ordered something. That happens all the time. And I rip it open, and it's Add Dreadlock 1, and it's about this long. And I could not stop laughing. $11.99 for this like chode of a dreadlock. I was crying, dude. Crying. And just because I cannot be beat, I walked over to my stage wig, and I was like, fuck it, I'm screwing this on. So I just sewed it right in the front. And I was like, you won't get me.
Sideshow.
Not
Now we're
today.
going to look out for it. So. Well, it was awesome having you on.
Thanks for having me.
We've had a great time so far. I know that. What do you got going on that you want to let the listeners know, let the viewers know? What do you?
I'd love you to listen to We Are. So Beasto just put out a record not too long ago called We Are, and it has some really great tunes. I love hearing what you guys think about it. The cool thing about the record is, when you ask, so what's your favorite track? And that's supposed to be like some hook that gets people to be like, blur, blur, blur. But really, I'm curious, like, what do you like? Like, which of the tracks do you like? And so I posted that a couple months ago, and I was blown away at the diversity. It was not one song. It was like people from this demographic to this demographic liked this, and young girls liked this, and the teenage boys are like, dude, like the heavy metal damnation, like it was all over the place. And so listen to it, and then write me. I'm on Instagram actively. I talk to people all the time.
We'll throw your tags up and make sure everybody goes and follows you and
yeah,
stalks
but
you away.
Definitely listen to We Are, and then around Halloween time, check beastoblanco.com. We should have a link to the live stream, and you can see what all the fuss is about.
Love it. Well, awesome. Well, thanks everybody. It was great. We'll check you guys out later.
Take care.
Have a great one.
Deuces.
See you guys. Fucking guys.